Mark lofted it up and swish a three from downtown. On paper, it was textbook domination. Team USA was miles ahead, a 55-point blowout, a statement of absolute authority. Caitlin Clark, pull-up three. Naturally, it sank. Everything looked perfect. The scoreboard screamed supremacy. But in sports, as in war, the numbers never tell the full story. Behind the glitz of the rout, something far more intriguing was unfolding, and only the most attentive eyes could catch it. For 6 critical minutes, Caitlin Clark turned an already overwhelming victory into a masterclass that revealed a vulnerability even the most dominant Team USA roster couldn't ignore. Coaches scribbled notes frantically. Analysts leaned forward, captivated. The scoreboard was a lie. This wasn't just a game. This was a tactical blueprint for the teams that were about to face the real battles. Despite the blowout, the match felt like 2 separate games stitched together. The opening minutes were sluggish, almost apathetic. Team USA, with all its talent, seemed disconnected. Passes that should have been automatic arrived half a second late. Against a New Zealand side that had nothing to lose and everything to prove, this lethargy was striking. It wasn't panic, but it was a red flag. Teams in the knockout round, Spain, Australia, whoever else was watching would be circling these mistakes like predators. Then, as if flipping a switch, the second quarter arrived. The ball began to move with purpose. Offensive sets clicked. Defensive rotations sharpened. For stretches, Team USA looked like the juggernaut it was supposed to be, a fearsome collection of talent operating as a single, unstoppable unit. But the story wasn't over. The third quarter stumbled. The offense went missing. Lineups that hadn't practiced together shared the floor, and positional assignments became experiments in real time. The rhythm vanished. Chaos reigned. And here's the twist. This wasn't carelessness. This was intentional. Team USA was running a live laboratory on the floor, using the blowout margin to test every possible lineup, every positional permutation, every tactical adjustment. This is standard in elite tournaments. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics showed the exact same pattern. Early game sloppiness, testing rotations, observing reactions. But almost all experiments produced usable data except one. One experiment failed spectacularly, completely, and it was invisible to casual viewers, but glaring to anyone paying attention. Caitlin Clark, for the majority of this experiment, was moved off the ball. From point guard, the engine of the offense, to small forward. The coaching staff wanted to test if their star could function as an off-ball threat, creating mismatches while others carried the ball. The answer was immediate and stunning. She couldn't. The spark was gone. The offense lost its soul. Her shots weren't falling. Her rhythm disappeared. This wasn't a lack of talent. It was a revelation. The entire system relied on her decision-making at the point of attack. Remove her from it, and you remove the invisible hand guiding everything around her. And then, the twist that stunned everyone watching, the fourth quarter began. Clark returned to point guard. 6 minutes. 5 points for assists, 0 turnovers. Read that again. 0 turnovers. In those minutes, she transformed the game entirely. The offense breathed differently. Cutters hit lanes before the defense could react. Shooters caught the ball already in their pocket. The pace shifted in a way that made the opposition feel helpless, like time itself was bending in her favor. This wasn't just a return to form. This was a statement, a declaration, a revelation of what makes her truly extraordinary. Clark's brilliance doesn't just come from scoring. It comes from reading the game 3 seconds ahead of everyone else, from punishing defensive mistakes before they even happen, from making the team around her exponentially more dangerous. In that fourth quarter, the spectacle was undeniable. What had looked like a chaotic, flawed system became an unstoppable, fluid machine when Clark controlled it. The box score barely captures the reality. It wasn't just points or assists. It was the invisible orchestration of chaos into perfection. This pattern isn't new. At Iowa, in the 2023 NCAA tournament, in her 2024 rookie WNBA season with Indiana Fever, the same thing happened. Rough starts, quiet first halves, then explosive fourth quarters that erased every doubt. Critics accused her of recklessness, of being a ball hog, of taking risks. But the fourth quarter mastery, where her skill, vision, and basketball IQ converge, is the repeatable, undeniable evidence of a generational talent. During those 6 minutes in this game, Clark also generated hockey assists, the pass that creates the pass that creates the basket. These are subtle, invisible moves that redefine the rhythm of the entire offense. Watching it unfold felt almost unfair. It didn't feel like talent on display. It felt like the system itself bending to her will. Any team can try to close a talent gap with effort or physicality. Nobody closes a system gap when the system is being run by someone who sees the game before it happens. When Clark returned to the point of attack, the difference was instantaneous. The offense transformed. Teammates found space before the defense could react. The court became her chessboard. Moves, counter-moves, passes, cuts, everything became preordained. Every possession felt inevitable. Every bucket, every assist, every rotation screamed her influence. In just 6 minutes, Caitlin Clark didn't just lead Team USA. She rewrote the blueprint for how dominance is enacted at the highest level. And that, more than the blowout, more than the 55-point margin, is the shocking truth of this game. Caitlin Clark isn't just a scorer. She isn't just a future WNBA superstar. She is the engine, the conductor, and the secret weapon all in one, capable of turning chaos into perfection with a flick of her basketball mind. For those watching closely, the lesson is clear. Underestimate Caitlin Clark at your own peril. The first thing to understand is that a lot of what Caitlin Clark does cannot be captured in a traditional box score. Nobody posts a graphic at midnight about hockey assists, the pass that sets up the pass that sets up the basket, yet any coach watching the film will circle each and every one of them, because executing that play requires reading multiple actions simultaneously while defenses actively try to take everything away. Clark's debut moments in this game, even in garbage time, were jaw-droppingly sophisticated. Her shot in rhythm was not just a casual jumper, it was a masterclass in timing, spacing, and decision-making that on paper, her three-point shooting was uneven, 2 for 7, including shots she normally converts with ease. Against New Zealand, those misses barely mattered. But as the tournament progresses, every look becomes precious. Opponents like Spain, Australia, and the other real contenders will not give her the same leeway. Yet inside the arc, Clark was perfect 4 for 4. Across the tournament, not a single two-point attempt has missed. Every shot inside the three-point line is going in. That finishing efficiency, combined with the threat she carries from distance, makes her almost impossible to game plan against. Defenses cannot choose one problem over another. They must face a player who dominates all levels simultaneously. But Clark isn't alone in carrying Team USA. While the tactical spotlight shines on her, the supporting cast deserves recognition. Angel Reese was arguably the best player on the floor in the first half, a dominant, physical, unrelenting post presence. She controlled the paint, grabbed defensive boards, erased mistakes before they could fester, and set the tone when the offense was still finding its footing. Reese's presence was the anchor that allowed the margin to stay comfortable even when the offense sputtered. Ryan Howard, meanwhile, looked like a force of nature. She entered the game with confidence and shooting rhythm locked in, knocking down shots with deadly consistency. Howard has a unique ability to get hot quickly, scoring in bursts that defenses can't adjust to fast enough. Kelsey Plum continued her quiet but consistent production, contributing in ways that keep the offense fluid and predictable in all the right ways. Jackie Young's versatility flashed in key moments, while Monica Billings quietly carved out efficient scoring opportunities when Clark orchestrated the floor. Even Kiki Irefin benefited from the chemistry, finishing plays that were impossible without precise setup by teammates. Defensively, Team USA was largely untouchable. They forced turnovers, disrupted rhythm, and never allowed New Zealand to build momentum. Even in stretches where the offense looked disjointed, the defense ensured the game never felt close. But all the stats, the rebounds, the steals, the blocks, don't fully capture what happened in the final 6 minutes of this game. That's where the narrative shifts from dominance to revelation. Zooming out to the tournament as a whole, Clark's impact is undeniable. She leads Team USA in points per game at 12.8, well ahead of Ryan Howard. She tops the charts in assists, with Chelsea Gray trailing by a full assist and a half. And she sits at the pinnacle of FIBA efficiency, a stat that, while simple, underscores her overall contribution. Every two-point shot she takes goes in. Her three-point shooting hovers around 45%, a legitimate threat from beyond the arc. Her true shooting percentage sits near 80%. She is efficient, versatile, and dominant at every level of the floor. Her assist-to-turnover ratio is strong, over 2-to-1, and that barely tells the story. Many of her passes lead to scoring opportunities that don't technically register in the box score because a teammate misses a shot. Hockey assists? Invisible. But they make the team function better. They make the offense breathe, and they make everyone around her more dangerous. When you look at the full picture, Clark, Howard, Buchers, three players clearly emerge as the true cornerstones of this Team USA roster. Even with Angel Reese controlling the boards, Kelsey Plum's consistency, and other standout contributions, one fact remains. This team's identity flows through Caitlin Clark. When she's running the show, the offense moves differently. Rhythm, pace, decision-making, everything changes. The floor transforms from a collection of talent into a living, breathing weapon. The question is no longer whether Team USA can win. It's whether they can recognize and commit to their own best version before the competition becomes unforgiving. Will the coaching staff lean into the blueprint revealed in those final 6 minutes? Or will old habits creep back under pressure? Because the truth is clear. The opponents are coming. The stakes are about to rise. Every adjustment, every possession, every single decision will matter more than ever. And one question now dominates the narrative. What happens when Caitlin Clark is truly in control? This is the story of a team in dominance, a star in command, and a blueprint for excellence. It isn't finished yet, it's only just beginning. And when the next chapter unfolds, the difference between triumph and collapse might come down to one player, one position, one unstoppable force. Caitlin Clark. Even after 6 minutes of sheer mastery, the story of Caitlin Clark and Team USA cannot be summarized by stats alone. Traditional metrics, points, rebounds, assists, only capture a shadow of what's unfolding on the floor. In reality, every pass she makes, every glance she casts toward a cutting teammate, every subtle hesitation and acceleration in her dribble is a calculated chess move. Coaches don't see points. They see tempo being dictated, defenses unraveling, and systems bending to her will. During this tournament, Clark has not only scored efficiently but has redefined the role of a point guard on the international stage. This is a player who does not merely handle the ball. She controls the heartbeat of the offense. She is not just reacting, she is anticipating, orchestrating, and creating spaces that opponents cannot even conceptualize until it's too late. And yet, this level of mastery is invisible to casual fans. The box score might show 12 points, 7 assists, a couple of rebounds. But what it cannot show is the psychological warfare she imposes. Every defender on the court knows, the moment Clark has the ball, something dangerous is about to happen. The beauty of this final 6-minute transformation is that it was not sudden luck or hot shooting. This was precision engineered by the coaching staff, who finally restored her to the role she was built for: primary playmaker, quarterback, and catalyst for every offensive movement. Once she was back at point guard, the team's entire offensive DNA snapped into place. Cutters moved at the right time, shooters caught passes already in their pocket, and the defense, even a well-prepared one, suddenly seemed helpless. What had felt like a talent advantage now felt like a system advantage, an entire structure moving in perfect harmony under one player's command. Angel Reese, Ryan Howard, and Kelsey Plum all contributed mightily, yet Clark's presence amplified every single one of them. Reese's dominance on the glass suddenly became even more lethal because defenders were drawn toward Clark. Howard's hot shooting streaks now had a perfect facilitator threading the ball. Plum's efficiency was enhanced because she could operate in a system perfectly timed with her movements. Even Monique Billings' cuts and Kiki Irafin's finishes were elevated, orchestrated by Clark's vision. Every possession was a microcosm of basketball perfection, a symphony conducted by one player, and it was impossible to ignore. The contrast between the first 3 quarters and the final 6 minutes is where the real narrative lies. Early in the game, Clark had been positioned off the ball, a tactical experiment by the coaching staff designed to test her versatility. The concept was simple. Could she dominate as an off-ball threat while someone else ran the offense? The result was eye-opening. She did not dominate. The offense lost its spark, its rhythm, and the intangible element that makes her genuinely dangerous. It wasn't a matter of talent. It was a matter of role and control. This subtle revelation is exactly the kind of tactical insight coaches pay millions to uncover. And yet, the moment Clark returned to her natural point guard role, everything changed. 5 points for assists, 0 turnovers in 6 minutes. Yes, 0 turnovers. Against a team she had already blown out, under no real pressure, she still displayed the kind of disciplined genius that silences critics who once labeled her reckless or high risk. Every decision she made, from passing angles to timing of dribble penetrations to shot selection, was flawless. It wasn't luck. It was repeatable, teachable brilliance. Her hockey assists alone are enough to change a coaching staff's preparation for any game. Every pass leading to the pass represents 3 steps ahead thinking, vision beyond normal human reaction, and the ability to manipulate the defense without scoring a single point. In basketball, that kind of influence is almost mythical. Most players can score. Some can pass. Clark does both while creating an entire ecosystem in motion, and the result is devastatingly efficient basketball. Off-ball, she had appeared restrained. On-ball, she became a juggernaut of intelligence and timing. The difference was instantaneous, not gradual. Suddenly, cutters were already in motion before defenders could react. Shooters caught balls in their ideal pockets instead of having to reset. The tempo of the game increased, the spacing expanded, and every element of the offense, from pick and rolls to baseline cuts, operated 3 seconds ahead of the defense. Her statistical dominance mirrors this unseen impact. Clark leads Team USA in points per game, assists, minutes, and FIBA efficiency. Her 2-point shot conversion is 100% across the tournament, paired with elite 3-point accuracy near 45%. This combination makes her a dual-threat nightmare. She can punish defenders inside or stretch them beyond the arc. Beyond stats, she is the team's central nervous system, the fulcrum through which every other talent leverages its effectiveness. Defense, meanwhile, was nearly flawless. Team USA forced turnovers, disrupted rhythm, and never allowed New Zealand to string together anything resembling momentum. Even when the offense was inconsistent, the defense maintained dominance. But all of that, while impressive, was contextual. The real takeaway is the way the team's identity crystallized in the final moments. Clark isn't just a player. She is the definition of identity on the court. The supporting cast matters, of course. Reese dominates the boards, Howard can score in bursts, Buchers creates defensively and offensively, Plum is a model of consistency. Yet the tournament has already proven one truth. Without the engine running through Clark, the team cannot function at its full potential. She creates the system, sustains it, and magnifies the impact of every teammate. And the question going forward is terrifyingly simple. When the competition intensifies, when the margin for error vanishes, will Team USA trust Clark to run the show as she was meant to? Will they embrace the blueprint revealed in those final 6 minutes, or will old habits and rotational experiments dilute the offense at the wrong moment? The stakes are enormous. Opponents are studying every frame of film. They will know where the weaknesses are. Every adjustment, every possession, every second of the game will be scrutinized. In this tournament, in this critical stage of international competition, the difference between dominance and vulnerability, between gold and humiliation, could all come down to one player and one question: what happens when Caitlin Clark is fully in control? This is more than a performance. It is a tactical revelation, a masterclass in elite-level basketball, and a blueprint for how one extraordinary talent can elevate an entire team. The final 6 minutes were not just impressive, they were a seismic statement to the entire world. Opponents beware. When Clark is orchestrating, the entire court becomes a weapon, and there is no stopping it. By now, the world has seen the numbers, the highlight reels, and the stat lines. But the real story of Caitlin Clark in this tournament is far more consequential than a box score could ever capture. Those 6 minutes in the fourth quarter weren't just brilliant. They were a blueprint, a warning shot, and a psychological masterclass all rolled into one. Opponents are already watching, dissecting every frame of film. The truth is brutal. When Clark is running the offense, Team USA is not just good. It becomes dangerously predictable in its unpredictability. The floor morphs into a canvas where she paints impossible angles, creates scoring opportunities before the defense can even blink, and forces rotations that would otherwise seem like mistakes. This is a player who operates 3 steps ahead of the rest of the world, and every team hoping to challenge Team USA now faces a brutal choice. Attempt to slow her down and risk exposing themselves, or let her dictate tempo and pray for a miracle. What's most fascinating and terrifying for opponents is the dual-layer threat Clark represents. Offensively, she's elite at penetrating and scoring herself, but even more devastating is her ability to make every teammate more dangerous. Angel Reese crashing the boards is no longer just about rebounds. She becomes an unstoppable force because defenders are drawn to Clark. Ryan Howard's hot streaks turn into unbreakable runs because Clark reads and times every screen and cut perfectly. Kelsey Plum's consistency suddenly feels like a machine designed to exploit every defensive lapse. Every pass, cut, and rotation is amplified exponentially. And the psychological implications cannot be overstated. Watching her operate is like seeing a mastermind at work under pressure. Opponents will come into games thinking they can contain her, but containment is an illusion. She manipulates defenses with delicate feints, probing passes, and timed acceleration, making even veteran defenders hesitate at the exact wrong moment. Hesitation against Caitlin Clark is fatal. Every slight misstep or overcommitment is punished instantly, leaving